Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I am RL Malpica, the Eat Coach, natural health and diet specialist. And today we're going to talk about raw versus cooked food, the ultimate food fight, right? Hey, look, first and foremost, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button in your lower right-hand corner so you can get notifications for any time I drop a new video. I got a lot of things coming out, including a brand new podcast that should be dropping fairly soon. So be on the lookout for that. And also, if you're into natural health and you're into transition into a more healthy lifestyle, like this is the place for you to be. But let's get to the topic at hand. Raw versus cooked food, the ultimate food fight, right? The showdown. And there's been so much data on both sides. It's almost hard to come to a conclusion on which is better for you. But I always say, keep everything simple. If you keep everything simple in life, you will understand everything the way it's supposed to be. Now, these are my philosophies. These are my thoughts, but hopefully some of this resonates with you. Because at the end of the day, if you keep it simple, you look to one thing, and that is nature. Nature will give you the answer to the question of raw versus cooked food. Starting with, we are the only species on this planet that cooks their food. The only one. Every other species on this planet eats raw, whole foods, except for who? The humans. Why? Because we try to outthink the creator. We try to outsmart the creator or the creators or whatever you believe in, right? We are that entitled or that arrogant of a species to do that. Now, we are what I would consider at a higher consciousness level, allowing us more conscious choices than other species, because other species, when you look at the animal kingdom, they pretty much make decisions based off of instinct and based off of what they are kind of attracted to per se. Unfortunately for us, we have this thing called conditioning that has been happening for years upon years upon years that has confused us to think that we need to cook our food, that it's actually better to cook our food. There's actual documentation and sources and studies that will try to tell you that eating cooked food is better for you, is better digestion, this, that, and the other. And that, in my opinion, is to compensate for a standard American diet that is, for the most part, unhealthy for you. Because when you look at it, when you break everything down, if you look at raw food in its totality, it provides you, when I'm talking raw fruits, raw leafy greens, raw veggies, raw nuts, raw seeds, they provide you with everything you need for your body to thrive. Every macro, every micro, every vitamin, every mineral, right? The entire kingdom gives you everything that you need. The reason that micronutrients and macros to some extent are so sensationalized right now is because of a diet, a standard diet that's pushed through society that is lacking. It is lacking so much that they have to push the micros and the macros and the vitamins and this, that, and the other to compensate for a diet that is lacking in true nutrition. When you eat the natural diet, when your majority of your diet is raw, whole foods, then you don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to worry about vitamins. Or supplements and things of that nature, because it's all in the food that you're eating. That's where, in my opinion, this bout or feud or battle per se is a very one-sided battle. This is like, let's see here. This is like Jake Paul fighting Canelo Alvarez, right? Jake Paul's cool. I love what he's doing, but we're talking about an amateur, someone who hasn't paid their dues versus one of the greatest boxers to ever do it, right? Like raw food is Canelo Alvarez. Like you can't really compare the two. When you're looking from an energy standpoint, raw whole fruits are the most electric food on the planet, bar none. If you measure it, like it has the most electromagnetic energy compared to any other fruit. We are electrical beings. We need electricity. And the foods provide that electricity. And on the other hand, if you look at the type of sugar that is in fruits, fructose, it gets pretty much like an automatic VIP lane transition to the cells. It doesn't have to go through the long metabolic process of every other food that you eat. So from a digestion standpoint, it's the most energy efficient food. It's providing a lot of electricity and is requiring not a lot of energy. Therefore, it's the most energy efficient and the, just bar none, the best food on the planet. Leafy greens are right behind it. Now, your nuts and seeds are going to take a little bit longer to digest, so they're not as high on the energy efficiency scale, but you get the gist. Now, when we're talking about cooked foods, we have to break down, like, what are cooked foods? Number one, we're changing the chemical composition of that food. So when you cook a potato, or you cook some rice, or you cook meat, or you cook fish, you are changing the chemical composition of that food. And look, meat and fish anyway are not really providing you what you truly need, what the body truly needs. And we can get to that in a minute. But if you're looking at vegetables, when you cook them, you're changing the chemical composition of that food. You're changing an alkaline forming tomato to an acid forming tomato by cooking it. You're changing the chemical composition, not to mention adding chemicals in the cooking process, right? Because think about it. When you cook something, what are you adding to the pan? What are you adding to that food, right? Usually it's an oil, and an oil, regardless of what kind of oil it is, I don't care if it's grapeseed oil, I don't care if it's avocado oil, it is not good for you. It is an isolated fat. That's all it is. And then you have to think about, well, they're storing it. I go buy it in the grocery store, then I open it, and then I leave it in my, my cabinet for however long, or my pantry for however long. How is that fat not becoming rancid? You have to think about those things. There's some type of preservative added to it. So changing the composition of these foods. The next thing when it comes to cooked food is, look, when you cook something, you are dehydrating it. Plain and simple. You are dehydrating that food. You are taking the water content out of that food in the cooking process. In return, in effect, what happens? You become dehydrated. You suffer from edema. And when you're dehydrated, you don't have hydration within your body, things become stagnant and gases are built and bloating occurs and water weight begins to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And that, contributes to weight gain, things of that nature. So when the body is not in flow, you're in trouble, right? So that's another aspect. Constipation, your lymphatic system gets stagnated and starts to build up. And when it starts to build up, that means it's not releasing the cellular debris and the cellular waste. Therefore, that's where dis-ease starts to build up. That's where inflammation builds up. And we start going through the 7 stages of disease within the body, right? The next thing is nutrition utilization. Now, when you start cooking something, you start to degrade the nutrients in whatever food you're putting fire to. Listen, nutrient degradation starts at 120 degrees. It starts there. Now, I want you to think about what you cook your food at, how hot you cook it, how long you're cooking it. By the time that piece of food, whatever it is done, I mean, the amount of nutrients in that food has diminished astronomically. Like if you're truly measuring what you're putting inside your body. So at the end of the day, like, people who eat majority cooked food or who eat a lot of cooked food are basically eating for one reason and one reason only: the taste and the addiction. I shouldn't say one reason. That's 2 reasons: the taste and the addiction, right? So it really isn't a battle here. This is not the ultimate battle. This is a farce. This is Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? This is, like I said, Canelo versus Jake Paul. And I meant Mike Tyson, the 60-year-old version, not the baddest man on the planet. What I'm saying is that, look, we're being sold this ultimate battle. We're being sold on cooked food all the time because corporations make money off of cooked food. They don't make money off of fruits or raw veggies, leafy greens, nuts, and seeds. They don't. I guess they make some money off of nuts because they roast them and they sell them in that way. Planters made a lot of money off of that. But if we're talking about health here, if we're talking about what we as a human species is supposed to eat, it's no contest. This is a first round knockout. Like, it's over with. It is absolutely over with. Raw food destroys cooked food in every category when it comes to health. All right. Remember, on the raw food side, we got high electricity. We got energy efficiency. We got alkaline forming foods to what promote health, vitality, flow, hydration within the body. When we're looking at cooked foods, we're talking about what? We're talking about nutrient degradation. We're talking about acid forming. And what are acids? They're destructive, right? We're talking about dehydration. We're talking about stagnation within the body. We're talking about disease forming at the end of the day, right? So think about those things when you're making your daily choices, your daily dietary choices. I always go back to my mantra, and that is whatever you're eating, whatever you're doing, but we're talking diet here. Whatever you're eating, is it for the betterment of you or the detriment of you? And there is no middle ground. I hope this makes sense. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you think. Maybe you have an argument for me. I know a lot of you guys are argumentative, and I'm sure some of you guys got a study that's going to completely try to bash what I'm saying. And I can't wait to hear it because we can definitely talk about that. But I appreciate all of you. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Give me a like if this resonates, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, love, and light, everybody.